welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I am filled with inspiration and excitement and anticipation and gratitude. I am just overwhelming sometimes. So many words, Jack. Chill out. Relax. Brothers and sisters, to all of you who've already stopped through, to those who are catching the notification, tuning in, or if you're tuning in at a later time so you can speed me up and increase the cadence, however, whenever you're here, thank you. Holy cows, man. Holy cows. I am excited to get started again. Truly grateful for all who may gather. To anyone who may join, because I am. I'll drop the link. Today's Sunday. Feeling pretty chill today. But thank you. Blessings to all who may receive my words. My words of love. Here, we'll jump through this stuff, right? In the thumbnail, Talcott rising, inspired by comments, right? The community. And there is a bit of community here rising, and with me is love, man. With me is love, that gooey stuff that'll transform you, and I don't know, love is with me. And in the background, the reminder today, rest in God's love. Truly, rest in God's love. To rest in that, you must know it. You must be aware of it. You must trust it. The topic today, finding morals and freedom. We'll get into this a bit. Morality and freedom, they are intertwined. So devote yourself to God to find freedom from the world. That's the end goal, right? You can't escape it through a bottle or through gambling or these other worldly addictions. You can't escape the world, but you can become free from it by devoting yourself to God, surrendering you, who you are, to align with the infinite possibilities from your perspective, and invite the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth. Allow truth to lead you with love. Let love always be with you. That's the message of Jesus. That's the message of the Christ and many others. It's you. You get to decide how much love is with you, within you, and you to some degree you get to choose how much love you allow, or lack of love you allow yourself to experience. This life we're living, it truly is. It can be overwhelming sometimes. It's tough. It's confusing. Sometimes we just don't know what to do. But that's the way life works. We're all in this together, though. And that's what I've learned. The power of... It's not about you, Jack. It's on the topic. Finding morals and freedom. If you think about it, it makes sense. Morality and freedom are directly connected. If you've got a lot of crime, or you've got an out-of-control child and a rebellious child, or you got a lot of crime in the neighborhood, there's going to be more rules. And with more rules, there comes more enforcement. And with the enforcement comes more attention. It's all about where I lost where I was going with that. It's all about understanding. Oh, freedom and morality. The more righteous and caring a community is, the less enforcement and policing they require, they ask for. So it's up to us to really become free in your heart and in your mind. Holy cows, it's this simple, dude. It's this simple. To find freedom in your mind, escape the battles, allow truth to prevail, and love to win. Because the only thing that matters is truth, and in the end, love is the answer. Love is the way. When I started experiencing love alone, without reason, nothing more than my thoughts, well, my thoughts and everything that God has given. Once I started recognizing I could feel this state of love within myself simply by really having a clear conscience. See, guilt and shame prevent us from knowing freedom. It's the darkness that will enslave us. So consider these ideas. There's been discussions online too, debates about morality, objective morality, subjective morality, free will. There's all sorts of conversations being had about these topics, and that's in my experience, and that's why I'm considering these things. But I was thinking this, reality is unbounded. Now, there's laws of nature that govern and somewhat limit, but reality is unbounded. Freedom is bound by morality. Your freedom to do what you want is based on your morals. You choose. And the idea of morals and ethics, well, those are to govern the unsaintly. The unsaintly allow God to lead and love to lead and the truth to lead in what to do. So that brings us actually into a couple of other thoughts regarding enlightenment. These enlightened spiritual master that history has produced from various different cultures and philosophies. What was the difference between Jesus and everyone else? It was his perception of reality. So enlightenment is but a shift in the perception of reality that you can achieve when you seek to grow and align yourself with the light of truth, the light of God, the light of goodness, the light of peace. For that's truly what you are if you allow yourself to be that. Because that's how we're created. We're created not cluttered, and we're not created to be work machines or war machines or all these schemes that people imagine. We're here to grow, to evolve individually, collectively. Evolution and development, it's just a natural course of nature, and that's who we are. But how many people do you know are just fighting for things to stay the same? I've done it. I I battled emotions and thoughts trying to fight against what was happening in the world. But in the end, truth wins. Love wins, right? Truth prevails. So I hope this is making sense. I took us on a few different topics, but they are connected. These are all connected, truly. One way to the path of enlightenment is to truly surrender to that which is true. And consider this thought. I've said things along this line in the past, but I come to realize myself, this body is not mine. I didn't create it. I received it. These eyes are not mine. I didn't design them. I didn't create it. I received them. So these eyes are the eyes of God. If I give my mind to God and will it, well, then that's what I can see the world as. So if you give your mind, give your eyes, your mind, and your heart to God, that's the path to surrender. And if you truly do that, bringing God into your mind more and more and more through the day, and you learn to love you learn to love life, and then you learn to love everyone who's like you and not like you. You get to love. And wouldn't it feel good just to love, just to be loved, to know that you're loved? Wouldn't that be great? What we all want. So what we're all created here to do. So this idea of giving your eyes, your mind, and your heart, that came from a church sermon I listened to earlier. I didn't do the link this time, but Pastor Michael he's inspiring, and the truth is inspiring, and the truth is true, and the truth is glorious, and the truth is divine. Do I know the totality of the truth? No, not claiming that. I don't claim to know anything more than what God has allowed me to discover here on earth. And I haven't had any supernatural senses or any clear angels or guidance in my development. Yeah, I've been going for a little bit. Blessings to all of you who have already stopped by. Holy cows. Yes. Hit the like, everyone. Show Jack some love. It won't hurt. It won't hurt you to love me, I promise. Well, I can't guarantee that because there's plenty of people who love me who feel hurt by me. So, you know what? I'm feeling good. Here, let me connect the dots and then I'll go ahead and drop the link. But here's the point with the topic and, the topic, finding morals and freedom. It's up to you to find your morals. You can learn from religion. You can learn from cultures. You can learn from your uncle or Aunt Betty. You can find guidance anywhere you want. Oh man, blessings to you, Sammy Sonite. Thank you for the contribution. Please consider helping Jack financially. His messages from God are worthy of more and more support. Thank you and God bless. Sammy, sincerely, thank you for seeing the value. Thank you for leading the way and with example too. Holy cows. The generosity is truly appreciated. I hope you can see the value, because if you see the value, whether it's economic support or any ideas of support to help this grow, they're appreciated, truly. Because I do feel God is with me. And if God is with me, God is with you. Because there is no away from God. God is the truth. And you possess a bit of truth within you, just as I do. A truth that you know that's different and unique from everyone else. That's reality revealed to you, and it's God that reveals reality to us all, shining the light on the world, and the light becomes form, and these forms get named and explained in the mind. All the meaning we find in our hearts, it's been explained in our vocabulary, and sometimes we find meanings for things when we're little children, like growing up. I don't have a clear example, but I know this happens. And it makes sense that this is how it would happen. Is as a little child, you don't have the vocabulary, you don't have the full understanding of all the variables that are involved. You just know you're hurt, or you just know you got hurt, or you saw someone get hurt, or something happened. A young mind without the bigger picture, it'll explain things to itself, especially if it doesn't have, compassion and support around it. Support to deal with the traumatic event. But a young mind will start defining things and giving meaning to the individual, to the child, as well as the world. And without clear understanding, we'll carry these meanings and definitions in our heart. I'm not worthy. I'm not loved. I'm not good enough. Whatever, right? This shit is real. It happens. And our mind can corrupt our heart. And if your heart is feeling closed, if your mind is feeling at war, I'm telling you, I'm inviting you, join what I did, learn from my experience, surrender. Surrender to that which is, because that which is true, you only get to know because you are you. And the truth of the past has been pretty ugly for many people. Truth of the present is pretty ugly for many people right now. But I see a future for mankind. I see a future where mankind collectively shifts, and I see it happening. There's lots of signs. I'm consciously, intentionally, just so you're aware, there's no manipulation. Jack Talcott, I'm trying to be a part of this awakening and this shift in values that's happening here on Earth. Because when people are less focused on profits and debts, right, celebrity and reputation, when people are focused on the truth, we can bring heaven to earth. It's here. The kingdom of heaven is present at all times, and it's available to be experienced. Layers of perfection are available to be experienced at each moment of your life, just like mine. So I see a future for mankind where we help each other, truly help each other, working together, like the idea of restorative justice, where when there are crimes in the community, you bring the victim, the perpetrator, the community together with support to solve the problem, to bring justice and, help people through life. We're in this together. And if it's really easy to get caught up in the battles, get caught up in the competition, my side, their side, winners and losers, victims and perpetrators. It's a sick game, and it's easy to get caught up in it. But finding morals and freedom, for you to be free, you got to recognize you choose which rules you follow. It's best to abide by the laws and the rules and the wishes of others, but sometimes you got to step over the line, especially in the time of in the face of oppression, right? Those in the face of oppression, those who stay silent enable the oppressor. So I'm suggesting it's a time, brothers and sisters, and my hope here online is to be a part of this shift, being a voice for the future, this future of cooperation and collaboration where mankind is not at war with each other. But that requires people like me, people like you, finding peace, finding compassion, finding a clear mind, and uniting the mind with the heart of understanding so that we can understand the pain of these hurt people who are hurting people. There's a lot of hurt people spreading their hurt in this world. There's a lot of angry people sharing their anger in this world. What are you doing? I pray, my goal, my intention is to share some inspiration, some encouragement, offering forth some of my faith. See, I recognized a while ago that faith and fears, how do you find those? You feel them in your heart. You feel them throughout your body. Faith and fear, they both come from explanations that you get to choose. Connect the dots, Jack. Freedom is yours. Freedom starts here and now if you choose it. Freedom means no more attachments. No more attachments to the past, no more attachments to the things that were, an ever-focused mind on the future, focused on creating and living the life of your dreams, starting now, because it's always now. And if you stumble and you slip up, you get into the old habits of the past, recognize your slavery, your imprisonment, because if you're not in control of you, who is? That's a question for you. Finding morals and freedom. True freedom will emerge when men and women start looking at themselves. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the key to self-mastery. Self-mastery brings sovereignty. You're not controlled and manipulated by others. You choose and you respond. So as men and women start truly living the way, and this is a call to action for any Christians too, because that's where I'm aligning myself with. It's time for us to raise the standard. According to the old churches and what was shared, we should stand out. There should be a difference. You should see the light and love and leadership and confidence and compassion. You should see the generosity from someone who says they're a Christian. Because this is how the world is created for. Such a glorious, glorious story of creation that we are a part of. I'm going to go ahead. I may not have connected the dots as clearly as I hoped, but I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for those who wish to join the conversations with Jack. It is Sunday, so that means I'm more in kind of a hangout. We'll chill out. We'll see what emerges, and we'll have some fun. Wonderful. Welcome, Leggy.
Hello, Jack. How are you?
I'm feeling blessed.
Well, good, good.
You were quick to jump up. Have you been around for a while, or what's going
Oh,
on?
I've been here since the beginning of your stream. Yeah, I've been around.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I have lots of thoughts. Not really. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I really don't have no thoughts. I just kind of wanted to come up and listen to you and then chip in from there. I guess. I
Fair enough.
guess. I guess that's kind of.
I was also wondering, in the greater picture, are you familiar with what I've been doing online, or did you just come across it more recently?
No, I've been on your panel before.
Okay. Forgive my
Uh,
absent mind. Thank you.
Last time I think I was on your panel, though, I think there was a Mr. Mike Cerrone up here, and I think shit got haywire, and somehow I think we both got booted, and then you ended the panel because you went all to shit. But that was forever ago. But
Understand.
but anyways, if I sound like I got something in my mouth, I apologize. I got my fucking teeth fixed. I'm still trying to get used to these new fucking where they fix the shit. So going from having a
Congratulations.
fucked up fucking mouth to almost a perfect mouth, it's fucking weird, man. Fucking weird. Dude, I
Hey,
haven't had perfect teeth since I was like 16 years old, so it's fucking, dude, it's fucked up.
no,
But
brother.
but at least
Please.
I can smile now and don't have to worry about shit.
Hey, Leggy, let me offer you a different perspective, please, because I get it. It's different. Your smile looks beautiful. Congratulations to you. And I'm sure, whenever there's something different, even if it's an improvement, sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to adjust,
Right?
which actually reminds me, one of the patterns I had to break for myself. It took me a long time to realize I had this habit of unrest. I had a habit of being anxious or angry. And I was considering these patterns earlier today. I used to drink, right? Drinking and stinking games on my phone. I would use entertainment and drinking to distract me from the world, from the life I was living. And there's no escape. When we do that stuff, we know we're not doing good for ourselves. When we're drinking or gambling or spending our time doing stupid things, we know that's not good for us, but we do it anyway because we convince ourselves we don't know what else to do. That's how I was. I took us way off topic, way off from where you were. Now I lost where we started, where I was going.
Yeah, it is what it is. Sorry, I do that
Oh,
sometimes. I distract people sometimes.
well, this pattern of change, recognizing that even good change can feel uncomfortable.
Oh, 100%. Like my wife, man, she's like, I know you did it. She goes, but it's weird. She goes, you sound a little bit different. She goes, your smile. She goes, I got so used to your smile that I look at you now and it's somebody else's smile. And I'm like, yeah. So, but hey, it is what it is.
Focus
Change
on
is
the
good. But dude, I tell you what, like legit, they took these fucking front teeth out, the cup that was fucked up. Dude, this nostril right here has been clogged up for like I've legit not been able to breathe out of this nostril for I don't know how long. Dude, I can breathe. It's crazy. I can breathe. I can focus. Like I don't know how to explain it. Other than the fact that I feel like I sound like I got shit in my mouth. But other than that, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's just it is. It's a confidence boost change. It's a good change that has come with nervousness. You know what I mean?
interesting. I
So
do know what you mean. If I can offer some encouragement for you, okay? Um, it is a change, but pay attention to the blessings, okay? Until you get accustomed, because otherwise, if you focus on the difficulty or what you don't like, you're going to give energy to that.
oh
And
yeah.
if
Yeah, that's
and if
true.
you focus on your improvement, realize, yeah, this is a big adjustment. You said it's been a long time. So, and you're breathing.
Yeah.
What you said, it's amazing how important our oral hygiene truly is.
Dude, I wish. So what happened to me when I was a teenager? I didn't listen to my parents. You know what I mean? And then once I get into the Air Force and all that shit, and I got with this girl who like, dude, she pushed me to be the better person. Me, I started taking care of my teeth, and then that's when I started having all the problems. So I was talking to the dentist about it the other day, uh, and she goes, she goes a lot of times people that don't take care of their teeth, when they start taking care of their teeth, they expose all that shit that's been bad. And then the damage has been done, and then therefore it just fucking. So I take my lessons of my fuck ups in life and I instill it to my three daughters. Uh, the oldest one, she's 15 and she just got her braces off and she's got the prettiest smile fucking out of us all in the house. Uh, my middle daughter, she needs to have uh, a tooth taken out and adjustment done. But other than that, she got her teeth are in really good shape. And then my youngest daughter, well, she's 4, so her teeth haven't gone to shit yet. So,
Well, this is one of the things. Are you in the U.S.?
oh yeah, yeah, I'm in Maine.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. It's beautiful there.
Yeah,
Um,
most of the time.
when the sun's out, when it's not cloudy, and I remember a lot of clouds and rain when I was there. But
Wow.
here, the point where I was going with the America, I see this as an opportunity. One of the things I'd love to talk to Donald Trump about. We have so many ways to improve the health and education of society.
We
And
do.
the fact that dental health and hygiene, these things haven't really been properly understood or taught
No.
because of influence from the sugar industry and all these different industries.
Well, like in my particular region, there's not enough dental places, like dentist offices, that there's not a waiting list fucking around the block, a year and a half. Like this process, I went in, I think last June is when I went in for my first appointment for my consultation or whatever. And then last week is when they had finally did, they had an appointment for me to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Almost a year. And that was on top of me looking around for 6 months for a place that would take me in. So that's the sad thing around here. So
There's well, we're living at a time with the developments in technology and with coinciding, the two go together, advancements in science. We're at a time right now where we could truly, should we choose it? I mean, the answer has always been there, but should we choose it, we can truly transform this world when there's no more wars, when we stop giving here. Look, consider this connection. Legal secrets are what create wealth and authority. They're all pretend. It's literally evil that's been created and what's the word from a long ago, memorialized into the government. The secrets and lies have driven mankind insane. That's what I want to speak to Donald Trump about. And JFK, he'd get it, I think.
I don't know. I mean, it is a very. You ever seen the It has the James Franco miniseries. It's like a J.J. Abraham Stephen King thing. It's what is it? 6/23/63 or something like that. It's when or 11/23/63. It's pretty much he goes back and he saves Kennedy from getting assassinated, but then when he came back, that Kennedy had actually taken us into war during the Cold War, and we went through a full nuclear war with Kennedy. That was the outcome if Kennedy stayed alive. You ever see that movie or
No.
TV show, whatever? It's really good, really fascinating to see the what could have happened or the idea of what possibly could have happened if he didn't get assassinated.
Thank you, Leggy. And totally off topic from what you said, but I thought I was thinking earlier regarding the topic finding morals and freedom, finding the prison of your mind and breaking free of that. The whole practice of meditation and many of the ideas that have been long known. The idea of meditation is to develop the practice in your mind of focus. Well, that's also what the social engineers are studying too, with the algorithms and the notifications of all these social media. They understand focus and distraction. Okay, so if you consider whenever you focus on something, if you're tuned in and you're paying attention to me, I'm distracting you from everything else, right? From the infinite rest of reality. And reality has no bounds. Anywhere we focus our mind, we're distracting from elsewhere. This swings it back around to the time of drinking. It wasn't until afterwards, a different perspective of me, I saw what I was doing. I was distracting myself with entertainment, TV shows. I hadn't discovered YouTube back then. But
Now, Jack? Do you think was the drinking? Were you drinking to numb things, like to numb feelings, or out of boredom? Like, do you think, and do you think before you stopped drinking, was it killing you? Like, do you think if the path you were going down, would you have you wind up drinking yourself to death?
I tried. I tried intentionally, consciously praying this might be the last one. You know, I'd take a big old down whiskey before I go to sleep, hoping not to wake up. But
See,
it never.
man, people that go through that, I've never, I feel bad for them because, but yet I've never really understood it because as tough as life has been in my short 36 years, I haven't, I've never come across anything so dire that I wish not to be here. You know what I mean? Like, I've never found anything that's not worth living for.
Good for
So,
you.
like, so I have a hard time because I always think, yeah, you might want to die, you might want to end it, but ultimately, it's a selfish way because all your family has to pick up the pieces and deal with why. You know, and I never could understand the people that do it. Like I have a friend. All right, his wife got bit by their dog and she lost her leg and there's complications. She died from it. Well, he had guilt of it. He drank himself to death within 7 months. Right, 7 months from the time his wife died, he died. Meantime, he left a 10-year-old son behind. You know what I mean? And yes, he was one of my closest friends, but I hate that motherfucker for what he did to his boy. You know what I mean? Like, I could never forgive him in life or in death for what he did because he left that boy. As much as I was there pleading with him, like, Bubba, your eyes are yellow. You need to stop. Like, his eyes was yellow as your fucking wording down here. Like, dead serious. When I seen him. And I was like, Jared, bub, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I knew right then. I messaged my wife. I go, if he's around 6 months, we'll be lucky. Sure enough, a month late, not even a month later, 3 weeks, he was gone.
That's sad.
You know?
I'm sorry
So,
for that, and I understand. I understand how you feel regarding witnessing that. I'm sorry that happened.
so
The what it is, what I was trying to escape was the lack of love I felt. I'd been searching for love. I didn't know where to find it. I didn't know I didn't know how to experience it. And it was searching for love, understanding what love was. That led me to the spiritual path, confirmed the spiritual path. And God is love. When I sought to know love, oh, well, this is obvious. When I truly stopped blaming and complaining about my misery, that's when I chose to get help. I had to humble myself and be willing to let some of those habits go away. But I had to humble myself and receive support from other people. Here, my mind got distracted because we've got another guest in the back. I'm going to entertain it very briefly and see what is going on. Snafu snaps.
Yeah, Jack, I just came to, bring some real optics to your topic because none of these losers like Truther Cop, OTW, even Paul, who I'm
Don't worry
wondering if
about
he's going to jail.
don't
I'm
don't
wondering if
worry.
he's going to jail. I don't know if he's taking a break.
Well,
But didn't
regardless.
I just have an interview with one of the head people in the United States of America who deals with the topic you're talking about? Didn't you just steal a quote from that interview? I'm surprised you're not telling the audience who I interviewed and why you're even doing a show on this topic, which is important.
Oh my God, you are so boring.
Uh-huh, exactly.
uh, okay.
Um, here
So
from
come up and want to talk by insulting people. That seems, see, that's another thing I never,
here.
why
Let
go
me
right to insulting? That's how you know you've lost an argument when you ultimately go to insulting somebody. You've already lost the argument.
right.
I'm saying.
Well, this is the world we live in, and to reflect on what Snafu said, I actually did promote your conversation and the live stream discussion you had. The idea of restorative justice. No denying, Snafu, that those words and that idea were reinforced the other day from you. But this is crazy sauce, man. Hey, we got a more well-minded man. Welcome, Tarek. Welcome back, brother.
Jack, how are you? And the man next to you, how are you as well?
Good.
I
Nice to
came
meet
up
you.
real quick because I saw Snafu right away, like the usual. Jack, just to let you know, I will debunk Snafu his interview with the man he's been bragging about. That he did an interview for 2 hours. I already debunked it all. I was going to do it on OTW today because I want to go through the whole thing and show where Snafu lies and where he, manipulates and all that. So Snafu, I know you can hear me and you're probably watching. I'm going to expose you. So stop going on Jack's panel and accusing people of stuff that's not true, because sooner or later you're going to be exposed repeatedly by me. Thank you, Jack.
Hey, thank you, brother. Snafu, he has no clue what he's doing. I'm actually looking right now, trying to find that video.
Oh, I have it. I can send it to you, but it's a 2 hour video. But here's the thing, Jack. You have to watch it all. And Snafu is good at manipulation. He's good at things. So you have to really be careful. That's why when I dissect his videos, and I told him privately that I'm not going to dissect every video until you stop talking about Jack and Truth or Cop and anybody without no proof. If you have a claim, bring the proof or shut the fluff up. That simple, Snafu. Keep doing it, and I'm going to keep coming at you because I'm dissecting everything you do.
Here, you know what? Sometimes I make things more difficult for myself, and this is a perfect example. Here, let me do this real quick. While Snafu was here, he was spamming the chat, the private chat, with video links, and I didn't bother looking at it. So it turned out it's the one I was searching for. For those interested in what Snafu shared, it's I closed it out, but a conversation he had recently, a man named Rob or Robert something or other, and his purpose and focus was on the idea of restorative justice, as I mentioned, bringing the victim, community, and perpetrator together for peace. Hey, Tarek.
Sorry, I got kicked.
Okay. Welcome back.
Yes, and Jack, to what you were saying about Robert restorative program, I'm not against it, but there's more to it because I look into things just like I look into chemo, and I told Snafu I will look into Robert and see why he's doing what he's doing. So I can't do it on your platform because it will take about an hour and a half for me to go through the whole thing and tell you exactly where the lies are at. But one day, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Here's something I'd like you to consider, though, okay? I don't know what you know. I don't know what you heard. But in the video, in defense of Robert whatever, he may have misspoke. He was trying to have a conversation with Snafu. And Snafu, not only was his audio horrible, but he kept interrupting and deflecting from the conversation.
Yes.
So it could be he misspoke, and it could be he's wrong. But I encourage you, please. It's real easy for us to get a habit of a suspicious mind, finding reasons for distrust instead of reasons to accept. Does that make sense?
No, I totally agree, Jack, what you're saying. But when just like you said, like, you don't know what I did in terms of me investigating the whole thing.
True.
I'm not. The idea what he's saying is actually a really good model. We don't courts and have the state take over where we can just see the perpetrator and the both people where they can talk to each other and get mercy. And that's one thing, for example, that Snafu's always been coming at you. And Snafu, you're just such a hypocrite. You bring a guy that is you're promoting to have mercy and to have dialogue between the two people, and that's alleged on Jack, and you won't allow Jack to talk to his son, or you won't allow Chemo to come on the panel. You won't allow nobody to come on the panel, and you have so many claims against Jack. Do you see where I'm going with this, Jack? It's like I did my homework, I promise you, and I'm doing it because Snafu is, you're gonna challenge me, Snafu. I'm gonna show you what a real journalist is. You're not a real journalist.
Tarek, bless you. I love you, brother, and thank you, because that's actually the conversation I tried having with Snafu. Trying to let him understand, look at the signs, dude. You're being a hypocrite. He's enabling Chemo with his resentment and his accusations against me, and then Snafu brags about communicating with my son. So he's enabling. Well, I asked Snafu, I said, look, it looks like you're trying to punish me, and I don't understand why. This is the world we live in. If Tarek, if you or someone else can get through to him and communicate and get him to see that he's kind of being a hypocrite, he's just got to look at himself. I have faith he'll change. His heart is good. His mind is just.
Jack, I even told him privately and in the chat yesterday when the guy was saying things about him and his daughter and the claim that was heinous, right? I said, even though me and you are disagreeing, I'm also exposing you. I still will stand for the truth and not allow nobody to say something about you like that. But you know what this guy did when I was trying to talk to his guy that he got on panel? I said, just let me get on panel and ask him a couple questions. I'm always respectful. He wouldn't let me do it. He said, and thank God Dina cut him off. He said, oh, if Tarek gets near my daughter, like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, I'm the most peaceful kind of guy you can ever meet. If anybody was attacking your daughter or even mistreating your daughter or anybody's daughter, I would put my life on the line for you or anybody else. For you to say that, there's just like Jack said, there's either something wrong upstairs or there's an agenda. Or hopefully one day you'll change and find Jesus.
That. Hey, Leggy, you've been in the background. Did you want to pop in?
No, I'm just there ain't nothing I really want to talk on. I
All
don't
right.
know. I don't know Snafu, and I don't really know this gentleman to speak on their issue.
No
So
worries. No worries. Thank you. Tarek, you said something I wanted to get back to. It reminded me of the idea. I'm convinced. Well, first, hey, welcome, Joe. Welcome back to you, old Joe.
Hello, sir. Hey, why don't you continue with that thought of yours, and I'll jump in when you're done.
Thank you. Well, it's the ideas of embodying Christ, humbling ourselves and inviting the spirit, the consciousness, the mind, and the heart of Christ to walk with us. This is what I've been practicing and trying to do. Give my mind and heart to God. Because truly, I think it's very possible that God is using us all. Well, it's God is using us all. But I think my life, my story I'm pretty sure God's behind this. So here, welcome. I don't know if that made any sense. Old Joe, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Yes, it did. Hey, how is my audio? It was terrible the other day when I got on. Is it good this time?
You
Sounds
sound
clear to
so.
me, sir. Sounds clear to me.
So I've been watching this, some of these individuals that come onto your panel that we see and are either agitated or trying to create chaos. And it brings me back to my days in university where there was a certain type of debater. We called them postmodernists. And their goal was to create
Sorry. No, what was that you called them?
postmodernists was the term.
Okay. Sorry, you
Decon,
cut out. So
yeah, sorry, deconstructionists basically. And their goal was to create chaos, to come into a conversation where meaning was established and to disrupt that meaning, to pull it down. And it's my belief that these types of individuals were really trying to find a place for themselves because they weren't certain where they should be. So if you have somebody that continually comes into a conversation like I've seen and wants to disrupt, am I echoing again?
No.
And wants to disrupt, I think that person is probably lost. And it comes back to the question that I continue to ask Tommy and get no real answer from. And I asked Snafu the same thing and get no answer from. And I didn't get any answer from the academics either. What is it that you are here for? What exactly do you want to see? What's your end goal? And I think, Jack, for giving these people an opportunity to speak, you're quite generous. I really do.
Thank you, Old Joe. Truly. That question. See, you've got a perspective and a gifted way of communication. I've been learning from people like you. That question, what is your role here? What came to mind is self-discovery. We're here to discover what we're made of. And we get distracted along the way with paychecks and relationships and fantasies and memories. And it's a glorious unfoldment of time. Life is. And we get to participate in it. Life really is kind of a stage, but if we don't notice what we're doing, if we don't notice what we're sharing with each other, we'll live this delusional character that can't explain itself, right? Old Joe, this is what you're pointing at. It's a symptom of the confused mind of the ego. It lacks clarity in its intentions because it's usually focused on explaining itself. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think of the days when, you know, my teenage friends and I would go around, say at Halloween, and knock people's jack-o'-lanterns over because we weren't contributing or building to anything. We were frustrated young adults who didn't know who we were. And all we were doing, we could create something by creating chaos, but that's pretty much all we could do. And I think you have adults doing the exact same thing, coming in and creating chaos because they're not capable of anything else. It's far easier to break down a shed than to build one. Take a
Yes.
sledgehammer and smash a shed to pieces. And there's, to be frank, there is some satisfaction in destruction, but it is not a long-lasting satisfaction. I think it's the same satisfaction you would have gotten from the drinking you were mentioning. It's a destructive cycle.
This is a symptom from the terms of psychology. It's the ego is, it leads us to death. The ego is, it's self-destructive. It's so beautiful when, if I can get this through, it makes sense. Within us, we've got the spirit of goodness, the spirit of life, the Holy Spirit, the Christic. It's within us. And then within us as well is this belief system. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but the principalities and rulers in high places individually. That's the mind. And so we've got these identities of ourselves that are separated from God, separated from each other. And the identity, the ego, it contains our shadows. How beautiful is this? The ego presents as a false sense of security because its purpose is to protect you, the self. But it's actually a false sense of security because the true security comes from the divine, comes from the unity, knowing that there's a unified expression that I'm just a part of. So, oh, now I lost. Go ahead, please. If that makes sense.
I don't know if anybody else on the panel wants to jump in before I say anything else here.
Yeah, I would like to add something to what Joe said. Joe, what you said about the agent of chaos and them doing what they do for satisfaction, and you said it very well, right? But with Snaf, I promise you, he's not stupid. He's got an agenda, and that's what he's really good at, and that's what he does. And if you take the time, and I know nobody would, but I'm doing it right now just to show people like that he's not stupid. You can see when he cuts off people, like say with the interview you had yesterday with Robert, where he interrupts Lena many times, like Jack said. He does very perfectly. He's been trained to do this. He's not stupid. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. So, what would you say? And I don't know Snafu Snaps. I didn't see the interview. What would you say? You say he has a goal. What is that, in your opinion?
Um, See, if I have to, that's why I'm trying to like restrain myself from totally exposing snafu snaps, because Jack's message has always been, let's try to have peace. Let's try, for example, to come together and not like fight and do all that. I can tell you my perception of it, but then I would put him in a situation where he'll be exposed, kind of. So I'd rather not do it at this point.
So,
But
if
I
we talk
promise you, he has an agenda.
if we talk in generalities without specifics, then is he working in opposition to what Jack is trying to accomplish? Is this a strategy on
No,
his
he's
part?
working with no, he's working with a certain people that are pushing a certain agenda, and that agenda goes against Jack's, and like you said earlier, he's just chaos, agent of chaos. Uh, so there's more
Yeah.
to it. There's more to it, but yeah, he is definitely not by himself.
So the thing is, I would say mischief is different than evil, right? Like if I'm out, let's say I come on here and I just try and pull the conversation down by being a jerk and a troll. That's mischief, right? But if I have funding, if I have backers, if I sit and have strategy meetings and then come in and work towards an end goal that I am not upfront about, then I think we may be starting to move, in my opinion, anyways, and some would disagree, but that's moving more towards evil, in my opinion.
I
Let
agree.
me jump in here because when I was going off on the description of the ego is the anti-Christ. If you can allow the concept that God is the truth, right? The giver of truth, the revealer of truth. God is the truth. Well, the agent of chaos,
But
that which
what is truth, though? That's what you have to ask yourself. What is truth?
you don't have to ask yourself that
That's
for what I was just saying, though, because that's the whole point. We seek the truth, and if we're seeking the truth, we're learning, we're paying attention.
Well,
Now,
I
an
guess
agent,
my question is then, Jack, how do you know when you have gathered the truth or received the truth? I guess. And like, if you've taken the Holy Father and the Spirit into you, how do you know when like you've been accepted or like maybe my question's not as clear as it is in my head, but
I think I get it.
Yeah,
How
it's
about
not.
this? You find that knowing when you find yourself with an absence of doubt. Okay, now can you allow yourself to feel an absence of doubt? That kind of ties into where I was at earlier about the habits of not knowing. Okay, we can feel uncomfortable in a habit of not knowing, or we can feel comfortable with not knowing. So it's got to take, swinging back, we've got to be humble to recognize there's a truth beyond what I know. I know aspects of the truth, but everyone else does too. So if I can convince my mind, train your mind to be like a child, paying attention to what's revealed moment by moment by moment, then you can understand you. You can understand what others are saying. And if you don't understand, you can ask questions. People today, I think we've lost sight of how to communicate with each other. I know that was my biggest problem. So, where I was going is if you take the concept that God is the truth and our job, our purpose is to discover and grow our relationship with the truth, then we're continuing to grow, we're continuing to learn. And what opposes learning? Bitterness, distractions, chaos. The Antichrist prevents learning. And these agents of chaos, they come in and and Tarek, not to push back, I agree with what you're saying. Snafu has a mind that it's worthy, but
Yep.
he's corrupted it. He's
Yes.
behaving with stupidity. He's trying to harm me publicly, which is harming him. He just doesn't realize it. And that's what stupid people do. Evil people, selfish people, they'll take, but they'll get a benefit out of it. I don't think Snafu is benefiting from what he's doing.
I totally agree, Jack, with what he's saying. He's messing up his own credibility for sure. Just like when he had the guy Robert, I said in his chat because he wouldn't let me up. I said I would. You know me, Jack. I'm always respectful. Like, see, even I said, Sanfu, even if we have our differences, I'm going up there to just talk to the man about a couple things that I don't agree with. And you are the host. You can kick me, mute me anytime you want. So there's no risk. But he wouldn't allow it. And like you said, he wouldn't allow the interview with Chemo so you can defend yourself. He wouldn't allow me, when he had the interview with Chemo, to go on his panel and ask Chemo questions. And he wouldn't allow me yesterday to go up top and talk to Robert, his main guy that he knew for 20 some years. And even though Robert told him, I have no problem. Yes, it'll be better. Get him up here. But
Right.
Snafu said no. You know why? Because Snafu is worried that I did my homework before on these people and I know what I know. And he's worried about if I may say something which I won't.
All right.
If I may, Jack,
Sure.
I was listening to your introduction, and you said that you thought it was possible that we can bring heaven to earth.
I do.
Communication is a hard task for a lot of us, obviously. That's why I don't get up on these panels too often. But if I may, Jack, it might just be 1 or 2 minutes. I'll share something with your audience. My journey has always been about accountability, trust, leadership, not just at the highest levels, but the most foundational unit of society, the family. Along this path, I've come to a profound realization, one that is as personal as it is universal. When a mother or father fails to act in good faith whether through dishonesty, broken trust, or selfish decisions. They are not just harming their own integrity, they are teaching their children, whether consciously or unconsciously, that such behavior is acceptable. Children learn not just from words, but from actions. And when they see those who are meant to guide them betraying trust, they internalize that lesson. The cycle does not stop with them. When the children grow up with a distorted understanding of trust and responsibility, they will carry that into their own lives, their relationships, and ultimately into how they raise their own children. In failing to lead by example, the parents unknowingly set their grandchildren up for a future filled with instability, broken trust, and missed opportunities. This is how a single failure to act in good faith ripples across generations, undermining not just one family, but the very fabric of a peaceful and prosperous society. Combe stands as a reminder that leadership begins at home, that every act of integrity or lack thereof shapes the world not just for today, but for future generations to come. If we truly want to secure a better future for our children and our grandchildren, it starts with the choices we make now. Trust must be built, accountability must be upheld, and the values we pass down must be ones that foster a world where peace and prosperity can flourish. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks. Any more on that?
Well, Jack, I'd like to take a crack at this objective reality piece that was being addressed earlier, if I could.
Please.
I think it's important. I think there's a difference between knowing what objective reality is and acknowledging that there is an objective reality outside of our perception. And I think that people often become confused between the two. And I think that in my journey, I've found that there is solace in accepting that an objective reality larger than myself exists, that I'm bound to it. And that makes me feel better about the world. And I think this might be the faith that the Bible is referring to. Although we can't see it, it does exist. So a question like, how do I know when I'm speaking the truth? Well, we may never know, right? There are hints. We can receive hints or we can weigh the evidence. But in the end, I think we have to accept the fact that that's probably beyond our grasp, like God is.
Yes and no. It's beyond our grasp, and yet it's within our reach. It's the mystery that remains a mystery no matter how much you learn. God is amazing. Life is amazing. We wouldn't be able to have these debates about God or life if we didn't receive God life, right? Somehow, some way, everything comes together and it becomes us. Hey, we've got a couple more guests who popped up here. Frank,
What's up, Jack?
welcome to you, Frank. Goblin, welcome to you.
Good day, Jack.
Blessings. You joining with thoughts or just joining? Either good, either way.
I got a quick thought, just something I kind of wanted to share. As a Christian, whether you want to call that a religion or a way of life, I don't understand where a lot of these people are getting on this kick where they get to determine the separation of wheats from tares and stuff like this. Now, me, someone that does believe in Jesus Christ, I'm willing.
Whoops. Oh, God dog it. Sorry about that, Goblin. I interrupted you, my friend. Are you there?
I was just going to say that as a Christian, someone that does believe in Jesus Christ, I'm willing to be martyred for my belief, which means I'm willing to lay my head down for what I believe in. So I don't understand like where these I don't even know how to say this the way that I'd like to, but the fact of the matter is people that are claiming to be Christians that get to determine they think they get to determine wheat from tares and stuff like that. I would just like to give some unprofessional advice. Go back to the book, ask God. Have a great day, y'all.
Who makes you okay? Odd, but who makes you apparently the arbiter for who's Christian or not? That was my question, but apparently that was really aggressive. So kudos on you because you dipped out right away. And I have a certain profanity that I wanted to say for that. But anyways, Jack, thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed our interview that we did last time. I'm not sure if you recognize me.
I remember you, but it's been a while.
It has been a while.
Welcome. What Goblin was doing was he wanted to offer some thoughts of wisdom he found, and
is that wisdom or is that more
beliefs?
See, I get it that somebody wants to be a martyr for their own beliefs, but then leave anyone else alone. You're not the arbiter of belief, and if that is the case, then you would be on a hi-hat in the Vatican City.
Hey, I turned your volume all the way up, but you're not coming through very well.
Hold on.
That's a little better already.
I'm soft spoken, my man. What can I say?
I'm gonna drop down, my friend, but I do appreciate you to let me read that little spiel there. I saw quite a few negative comments down in the chat in regards to it, but hey, it's all good. See, folks, life is a lesson, and we're all gonna learn us a lesson in life, as they say, right, Jack? But I think if you review what I read, I would certainly think it would fall very close in line with the teachings of Jesus. Much love and many blessings.
No disagreement. I mean, I'm not sure if you see what I'm doing, I don't know. Frank, you had some, oh, perfect. I muted you while you were adjusting. There was a little noise coming back.
I'm sorry.
I think we're set. I think where you were at, Frank, regarding questioning the arbiter of what is and is not proper, what is or is not Christianity, I think is where you were going.
Not only that, I don't think anybody that is a simple human being should be the arbiter to say what is wrong and what is right.
And yet that's a part of what we do.
I get it, but should it be that way?
What's that?
Should you tell somebody else what is wrong and what is right? I mean, I know that we live in a democracy and we have social agreements, what is wrong and what is right. But when it comes to religion, there is no social arbiter that should be that way, right?
When it comes to religion, right, I don't think anyone should be forced. Well, here, human nature, the society we've been born into, it's backwards, right? We got a top-down approach in basically everything, from the government to the schools to the households. It's a top-down approach. And I found in myself, I think each of us, we all have within ourselves Christ and the Antichrist. It contains within us, we got a devil inside of us that loves to rebel, loves to defy.
Hold on though, because you're already defining somebody that might not believe or not have been raised with belief that there's kind of this yin and yang going on. You kind of put the context as it being the devil, being this mean individual that does a lot of wrong. But then again, God created him, so who doesn't say that wrong or right is exactly what gives us our consciousness, or let alone gives us a belief of what we should think.
I lost part of where you were at.
Well, you were citing something that
I
that you.
mentioned the terms Christ and Antichrist. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have Christ and Antichrist. See, I'm not religious. All you should know that. That's why I love coming on, anyways. Is that people believe in certain concepts of what they believe that is socially acceptable, and we have this entire religion, right? That is based on uh, history, But then again, history is written by the victor, and the thing is that we believe in this thing that have been in multiple beliefs, which is basically yin and yang, good versus evil. And do we need to construct this entire belief that there is a God high up in the sky that created us, but just because we do not understand where we come from?
I'm not sure where you were taking us, but yeah, religions are based on traditions. I'm not here really promoting a religion. I'm
No,
just
no, no.
trying to explain what I've learned about this life experience. And the concepts of yin and yang, of light and dark, they are part of this eternal existence of life, the experience of life that we're sharing. And there is good, there is evil. But like you said, and the Bible says, the one God created the light and the dark, the good and evil. We get to choose.
Do you think it's construed that way? I'm not sure what kind of. I know that I interviewed you, but I can't remember what kind of a religion you have. I mean, we had an awesome conversation last time, but is it light or dark, or is it just seasonal work, or is it just day and night that misconception perhaps has been made?
It's all things. I
So it's a
consider
context, right?
well, there is a perfection. There's a quality of perfection to all things and all times. There's a quality of perfection to the order of time.
That's
So
really deep, isn't it?
I believe it's true though,
But
because
why? Why do you believe that is true? There was a wise man once that said,
here.
if
Oh, please go ahead. Wise man once said,
there was a wise man that said once, if you cannot explain something simplistic, then it might be complicated to not to explain, because life is pretty simplistic. It shouldn't
yes,
be complicated, should it?
exactly. Thank you. And this is the simple answer. I paused because I wanted to come up with what is accurate. What brought me to believe that there's a perfection to the time and to all things? My opinions, when I find problems, I don't feel good. So if I can accept that everything is perfect, even though it might hurt, even though it might be uncomfortable, if I can accept that there's a perfection, then I can find peace. Makes sense?
Yeah, it does. But then
Can I throw something? Can I throw something in there?
Oh, sorry. Sure.
I think I
Oh,
agree
sorry.
with. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I think
No,
I
no,
agree
no.
with
Go
the
ahead. Go ahead.
simplicity piece. Yeah, I'm going ahead now. Yeah, I think I agree with the simplicity piece. However, I think sometimes getting at something simple is extremely complex. Have you heard of the concept of a theory and then a following proof in mathematics? In other words, there's a mathematical theory that seems to work, but the following proof may take decades or centuries to prove something quite simple. Proving an equation, for example. Have you heard of that and how that happens?
Yeah, I didn't.
In other words, mathematical equations can work. We don't know why. And mathematicians will have to formulate a proof, which may come centuries after the initial equation was arrived at. E equals mc squared is quite simple, right?
Yeah, it
But
is.
what is it saying? Is
What's
what
a
it's saying simple? 6 strings on a guitar are very simple, but they produce an almost limitless amount of melodies.
Well, is
So
E
that
equals MC squared not simplistic then? Because it pretty much is really simplistic, because the formula might be something that people are not really interested in, but the essence is pretty simple.
as are 6 strings on a guitar, but the melodies that spring from those 6 strings and all the frets on the guitar are limitless in their complexities.
But then again, nuclear power is also pretty simplistic, because that is the essence of E equals MC squared, is that you have a small generation of power that creates a big force.
Is nuclear power the only thing that you see springing from the formula E equals mc squared? Is that all that's contained
No,
in that
but that,
formula?
no, not at all. But that is where the definition comes from. That's what it was based upon. And I totally get your analogy, but it's totally moot for the argument that we are trying to have, or not even
Steel
our
man, what I'm
discussion.
saying. Steel man, what I'm saying, so I know you understand my point.
Yeah, I do.
Well, then steel man it. I'd like to know that we're talking about the same thing. So
Well, you were saying E equals MC squared, which is basically a differential. It is based on nuclear power, because that is why it was made up, and that is the essence of it, because Einstein actually discovered that. It is, well, he didn't discover nuclear power, but he made it into a formula that a small form of power can give great energy. And it doesn't matter how small that energy is, that it can have great effects. That is the essence of it.
So would you say that you just successfully steelman the point that I was making?
Well, it depends on what kind of coalition that you made, though. It all depends on, that is a big thing to say, because there's a lot of things that I mean, we were talking about science now, right? So if you want
I
to
don't
talk
have
about
an
science
idea
stuff,
what
sure.
either one he is talking
But
about, to be honest.
that's fair.
Both of y'all's
the,
point went past my bat.
well, that's fine. But I think the concept is, it is non scientifical. That is what you're trying to make. Unless I understood it wrong, then please elaborate then what you were trying to explain.
Sure. From a very simple explanation, a large number of results can spring.
That's a good that's a good analogy. Kudos.
Sometimes arriving at that very, very simple explanation is in and of itself the definition of brilliance. Sometimes only the most brilliant minds among us can do that. So sometimes asking a simple question is in fact exceedingly complex and very difficult to answer. Like, why do you believe there's a truth? Or the title to Jack's live stream today, morality, the simple word. What is morality? Simple question. Do you want to take a crack at it, Frank?
No, I
Very
like where
simple
you're,
question.
no, I like where you're going. That's a really good analogy, but that doesn't make it scientifical. And it makes it more an argumentative thing based on a comparison. Okay,
Here,
so fair enough. You wanted my opinion on morality. I think morality is based upon each individual on their own, because we got emotions, we got consciousness, and not all consciousness plus emotions work the same. Therefore, that we are different individuals and therefore different beliefs. And some people might not have beliefs and still have those emotions and a consciousness.
so here's the final thing, and then Jack, I think you were going to jump in. I'm saying sometimes it's an easy attractant to throw what seems like a simple question at somebody and then watch them not be able to answer that and use that as proof of something,
I
when
agree.
in fact their inability to answer may just be honesty.
Fair enough. You make a very valid point. Thank you.
He does. Hey, I want to welcome Denizen. If you got Anything, please.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
like what the hell did you guys just say?
well,
A lot of nerd talk.
here I love it, and
That's a good analogy.
you both communicate pretty well. So originally, though, the concept that I thought brought it up was the idea that something complex, maybe we may understand something complex very simple, but in order to understand the simple, sometimes you've got to know the complex.
Well, see,
Yeah, if you're
the analogy is in essence to make it more simplified is that something small can have great reaction.
if you understand something, you should be able to explain it simply.
That's
No,
true.
that is.
Otherwise, it might be a little
Oh,
bit
hold
beyond your
on.
understanding.
Like I said,
That's where we
I
start.
can't make it more simplistic as this. Is that something small can make into something big? That's a
That's
concept.
what we are. That's what we are. And yet the paradox is we're already something big. We started from nothing, and yet here we are. The world, I mean.
Well, we started somewhere, so technically we were not something. I mean,
I'm truly convinced, okay? What this means and how to apply it, well, that's a mystery for me. I'm still figuring this out. But I am convinced that we are, while it's physical and emotional, we're just mental. We're ideas imagined by God who are coming into form, and we've got this free will of choice, but our choice is limited by the ideas. And our ideas are limited by our morals, right? Our morals are going to limit what we consider, they'll limit what we actually allow ourselves to do. And morals, the idea of morals and ethics, those are guidelines for the unsaintly. Live like Christ. Morality is not an issue.
Jack, explain to me what unsaintly is then.
What unsaintly is?
Yeah.
One who's selfish. That's probably the most common symptom, selfishness. Because the true saints, they were selfless. They'd given their mind to God, they'd given themselves away, and
So
that's what I'm encouraging.
so you have Christ, Antichrist. So you have unsaintly. There's every single belief that is, or every single wording in the Bible have like a commonology that it contradicts it.
Possibly.
Why
Because
is that?
we live in duality. Duality is the space for polarities, hot and cold, light and dark, masculine, feminine, good and bad, right?
Exactly.
It's all one, though. All of these polarities are contained within the one
The
universe.
duality of man.
Yep.
The Jungian thing.
So young versus no, it's perfect. That's why I asked. Is that you have young versus old, and then etc. etc. And it's a perfect good example because that is the way that it is, or that is at least how we perceive that it is, right? Because I'm no Jesus by any chance. I wish so much people would believe me, but then you have God, and then who is the anti-God?
Me.
No, you have Christ, you have Antichrist, and who's the opposite of Christ? I mean of God.
Me.
There is no opposite. There is no.
Oh, so
No.
then it becomes a unity. So don't you think that's kind of weird?
Well,
Life.
that's kind of the definition of God.
Yeah. Unity.
It's one of the reasons why I reject its existence, because it doesn't. The whole idea is it comports to no other thing. But if you accept it, you're that comes. There's the baby in the bathwater.
Yes. This is what I learned for myself. I had to accept these ideas in order to test them out. the idea is that there are higher powers. Higher powers communicate with others, and I learn from others, and higher powers reveal what's happening with me. So I started, I wanted, well, in my years of drinking, this is what I'm thinking. God is using me to tell a story, all of us. But my story includes me taking myself through hell because I lived a life without faith, without love, and without God. And then I started discovering love. I found God, and faith started growing. And it brought us to today.
Is faith reliant on your sobriety?
Sobriety actually, once I stopped drinking, my mind started clearing. As my mind started clearing, I grew. I don't know
Is
how to
that
answer that.
is that a religious thing, or is that actually what sobriety does to you? Because if you drink 24/7 and you stop drinking, you tend to feel pretty much better.
It's a no-brainer, but for someone who's caught in the habit and the addiction, there's no escape.
That's
I
what
couldn't
that's
find a way
that,
out.
that's what I'm saying. Maybe religion is a motivator for people to do certain things because, and I'm not saying that I'm like the arbiter of religion or whatever, but if it is a motivator, kudos. Because if it works, then it works. As long as people get better, and that is what it is, right? It's a motivator. You don't have to study a motivator because if it makes you feel better, it makes you feel better. You don't have to over extensively research it or try to figure out where we come from because nobody knows. I mean, I think the point is that we think that we know, but we really do not know because it's been back so many years that that we do not know what is wrong and what is right. We like to believe that we have an entire history that knows what is wrong and what is right. But we've got the Crusades. I mean, is that wrong or is that right? You tell me, because I'm pretty sure that's wrong. And some people might just go on there and go on to Salem witch trials and say that, beheading people or drowning witches for having medicine is wrong. But that's not what religion does, because religion is a nasty thing. And I think we're in a really good spot where religion is not a nasty thing, because we can discuss it all that we want, but it doesn't matter what kind of religion that we discuss. They're all nasty in their own ways when it comes to extremist. And I think I kind of agree on that. When it becomes extreme, and then people have different contextual meanings on what certain passages in different books mean.
So Frank, I'm just trying to dial into what you're saying, would you say extremists or fundamentalists are dangerous? And is there a difference between the two?
Well, let me ask you, what is the definition of an extremist?
So, in my opinion, the fundamentalist is the more commonly or more appropriate word when we're talking about extremists. These are people that take very literal interpretation of whatever scripture, their own interpretation as well, and then apply them to everyday life. And those seem to be the people that will commit acts on behalf of these scriptures, saying, God told me to do this. I'm not sure where extremists fall in there. So that's why I asked you the question. I think for me that the people that are generally referred to as the dangerous people are fundamentalists in nature. In other words, they have their own interpretation of the scripture and they will follow it without exception. It seems to
Well,
me to be the case, anyways.
well,
Here,
a fundamentalist already has a word fundamental on it, right? So then he has a fundamental reasoning to do certain extreme acts, and that's why you call it extremists, because with that fundament that they believe in is to commit extreme acts. So that's where differentiation is, and I get it. It's kind of like a commonality, but I guess we're not. You're wrong. I mean, you're right, and I'm right as well, because there's a different concept of it. I think when extremists are called, they are more like Islamic instead of Christian, Well, if you go back in history, it's kind of the same concept.
Right. Let me jump in here, please, because
Okay.
there's good and bad in all things, right? If you can accept that there's a purpose and a perfection to everything, we may not know why it is, but we know that it is. Once we know that it is, then we can find the good and the bad. And religion, no
And
lie.
ugly. Sorry, I just needed to say that.
Yeah.
It's a good back of
You're right. History is ugly. Modern day is ugly. There's true genocides happening, being reported in the news, advertised on social media. There is a sickness in humanity, but we can't lose sight. So religions, yes, they have corrupted people in different ways, but they've also created some wonderful morals, some wonderful practices. You know, some good people have risen out of the religions. And so
I fully agree.
I think we're at this time. There was something I had to do with Christ. Uniting. We're here to unite. That was his message. I have a theory that 2,000 years ago, mankind, actually back to the topic, the fundamentalists. I heard an interesting theory recently, an interesting presentation pointing at the Old Testament and pointing out that history and archaeology doesn't necessarily support the Old Testament. And so it was pointed out that it could be the Torah actually originated as a theological and a political guide to unite the people. Well, uniting the people with common values, common laws, that's it's good and bad. But reinforcing the tribalism, setting each other apart.
I mean, I'm not saying that religion is necessarily bad. That's solely not what I intended to do. I think it's more the argument that, and I'm speaking for other people, by the way, not necessarily me, is that the argument is that, you know, religion did not work out for them. They can't see the logical reasoning why there is a guy high up in the sky. Well, maybe it is more, well, as we call it, spiritual, and it is more a guide to help people have a better life. I don't see anything wrong with that, to be honest.
That's the idea I found. And admittedly, this is one of my, I haven't really put pen to paper or tried to, I haven't had the conversations and worked these words out on my own yet. But there is an evolution in history that shows the distortions of religions, and actually the evolution of religion is something that I looked into. How did we get to this point? All of these different denominations of different core philosophies. How do we get there? Well,
What? Go ahead, sorry.
It's people's minds and beliefs.
But a human mind is beautiful, isn't it? But we have all wondered that without, I hope so at least, that we all wondered that without religion, how is the world perceived, you know? And I hope to God, if there is one, I have to keep my reputation, by the way. So if there is one, then you would need to relay a different aspect of life as well. And look which one suits the best for you. And I have a Catholic name. I'm not born Catholic. Or, well, that was just my name and that's it. I was given that name. But the point is that you need to, as a human being, need to go need to just live your life. And when things become a hardship, that is when that is when you turn to belief. And it doesn't matter what kind of belief, if that belief works to you. I mean, if you have Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali wasn't always named Muhammad Ali, was he?
No.
But still, he kicked ass. It doesn't mean that he's necessarily a terrorist or an extremist. I mean, he kind of was, but still, because he kicked ass. Nah, that's just a joke. But the thing is that the point is that it is always the motivator that gives people a belief because they feel accepted to it, and I think that is the most important part. Because
Well,
it's go ahead.
sorry, maybe I interrupted you.
No,
The
no, go ahead.
most important part of these ideas of a spiritual relationship is we become better people. We're not selfish and reactive, manipulating. We're kind, and we're the best version of ourselves that we can be. So I resisted a lot, Frank. My individual life, my testimony. I resisted the idea of God for a long time. And then the Bible and Christianity, since I'd been exposed to it when I was young, that was the last place I wanted to look. But I'm telling you, when I turned to the Bible, the wisdom spoke to my heart, and the stories and the wisdom actually offered me explanations of what I was experiencing. It makes sense. When you
Yes.
find your way to the light, we're going to be challenged. We're going to be refined.
And that does make sense because you learn about other people their life lessons, right?
So
Exactly.
Jack, let me throw this at you and see what you think of this. I have debated some Christians from certain denominations who will say that they don't feel qualified to receive the word of God. They believe they have a clergy who are qualified and who are certified to perform this task. And the rationale they give is like you wouldn't go and take on the wiring in your house because you don't have the education to do it. You need to listen to these people who are the experts. How do you feel about that?
I yes, there are many people raised like that, and mine was in a different way. Not so much with the authority of churches, but I was really caught up in this idea of authority that I had to learn from the experts. I couldn't learn on my own. I had to be told and taught. But that's this society. That's not true.
Yeah, there's no real authority.
I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? Like when you're being raised, you can't have a belief as well because the belief is that your parents are well, not always necessarily good people, but let's just it's a concept. The point is that you're looking for role models, right? So those are the people that you believe in, and let's keep religion out of it for a second. But you believe in that individual just naturally to help you out with life. And maybe that is a biological belief, but when you get older, when
I
you
was
get
gonna
a
say I lack
conscious,
that gene.
that's fine. Like I said, a concept. So as you get older, you start you're wanting to maybe you want to socialize. Maybe you're an introvert, maybe you're an extrovert. But the point is that if you have a commonality with people on how you believe or how you feel, then and if you consider that way of feeling with either Islam or Muslim or being a freaking Hindu, I don't care. But the point is that as long as you feel a spiritual awakening, I guess, or not necessarily a spiritual awakening, because some people have that. As long as you feel comfortable with what you believe in, then there's nothing wrong with that, no matter what you believe.
So
I feel
now
like I was born
I
spiritually awake.
I'm more along your lines, Frank. I don't believe in the religious authority. However, I will tell you what the people that do will come back to you with in an argument because I've seen them do it. They will tell you that when you operate in that fashion, such as you've just described, that you simply are operating from your own personal preferences and you are operating, in fact, from personal incredulity, and you have placed yourself in the role of God.
That is what you call indoctrination.
And that is exactly what those people are also doing. They're just completely unaware of it because they lack introspection. And the best they can possibly hope for is that their so-called leaders and authorities on the matter are doing exactly what you just accused Frank of doing, which
Now,
is
Dennison, you
No,
know
turning
who I'm
it
themselves
was a
into God.
generality. It was not
you
necessarily
know
accusing me, but
you know who I'm talking about, right, Dennison? You've debated these people as well, and you've heard these
Uh,
arguments. So
oh,
their
well, yeah, I mean, I've
argument,
been debating Christianity for 30 years, so yeah.
yeah, but we're talking about a particular group of people, and their arguments
but
will say specifically, I am not wrong because I have apostolic succession right from Jesus Christ. And I can point back all the way to Jesus Christ and the disciples, and you can't.
technically nobody is wrong, right? As long as they feel the way that they feel and have a happy, good life, then nobody
I
is
can
wrong. Right?
point all the way back to the original Amazing Spider-Man. All the way back to issue number 1.
Here's what I know. Earlier we got on the idea and the topic of how do you know the truth? What is the truth? The truth is now. It's always now. The way we treat ourselves, the way we treat each other, that becomes the truth of our history. And it's important for us to pay attention how we're treating each other, how we're treating ourselves. If you can accept the idea of God and Christ, here's the way I see this relationship for me. I think if you take the stories for the stories, right? God creates the species and the man descends, wipes out, comes again, and then it's prophesied that one day there would be one good enough. And so Jesus comes and he's tested and he passes the test on behalf of humanity.
Is that true according to the Bible?
I don't know.
Sorry.
That's how I look at it. Because
We would need a biblical scholar to back that up, I think.
Well,
I'm not sure.
and there'd be lots of debate. The theologians they love to argue, and actually that's what apologetics is, isn't it? Just arguing.
For sure. Apologetics has evolved over time, though. It's become, I mean, the term apologetic is a pretty accurate term. It's one of those examples when a word just really hits it on the nail, the head of the nail.
Yeah, I'm going to jump down here. I'll just say the last point or argument that I have yet to find in support of what Frank says, and I have yet to find any of the debate bros to come up with a reasonable answer, is that no matter what religion or what person you choose to follow, in the end, the decision to follow that person is a product of your own free will. You are in fact deciding to accept this advice. So you too, even if you're claiming that your church is correct, or exercising your own free will by following it, which means you are a relativist like the rest of us. And I have
Both
not
you and free will are an illusion.
and I have not. No, Dennison, that's not true. But we're not going to debate that today. You and I went at this before. Anyways, I
Did
am
we?
going to get going. Thanks a lot for the discussion. That was good.
Oh, Joe, nice to
Rage
meet you.
quit.
Well,
No, no,
Joe,
it's not a rage quit, Dennison.
I'm just kidding.
You lost this. You lost this debate last time we had it. Remember when you froze up for 3 minutes?
I don't believe you.
Yeah,
It was freaking going so well.
and you couldn't type into Chat GPT quick enough. Remember that?
I've never used Chat GPT in my life.
You said you did.
No, I didn't.
Remember the
And-
question I posed?
Folks,
You
this
believe-
is
I think you got me confused.
this is how
with
World
someone
War
else.
II started.
Let
Yep.
me ask you, Dennison. Do you believe in consent?
Do I believe in consent? I
It's
don't
an
know what you
easy
mean by that.
question. You're tripping up again.
it
You know
isn't.
what the question is.
No, it isn't. What is that?
It's
What
an
do you
easy
mean by that?
question. Do you believe in consent? Yes or no?
Elaborate on what that means.
Very simple. What is consent?
Hold on, let me look it up.
About
In
shooting.
ChatGPT. Thank you very much. He's already at his keyboard.
To give assent as to the proposal of another, agree.
Do you? Do you
Yeah,
want
sure,
to be a
you can
slave,
agree.
Dennis? You talk a lot about slavery. Tell me what slavery is.
It's not being of your own free will.
Do you think slavery is a good or a bad thing?
I don't know. That's above my pay grade.
Okay, so now you've just run, is what you've done. You always say slavery is bad, Dennison. You rail against it. I've heard you do so many times. Are you
I rail
retracting?
against a lot of things.
Do you believe slavery is good or bad? I want you on record saying that right now, or
That's
tell me
above
you
my
don't.
pay grade. I don't talk in terms of good or bad.
Okay. Do you support slavery?
I mean,
Well,
inadvertently.
you already gave an answer, and he's not obviously wanting to give it. So you can force him, but he's not gonna want to answer.
Inadvertently, yes.
So you think you support slavery? How come?
I live in a world that's run by slavery. I have little to no choice about it. And
Would you
unlike you,
choose?
I don't believe in free will.
Would you choose not to live in a world that's run by slavery if you could?
Well, it depends if he's a
I mean,
vegan or not, because technically, if you hold a pig hostage, that's called slavery too. If you believe
It's a
I
simple
probably want to
question.
know. I probably want to know some of the details before I agree to change anything about the world.
So you won't answer that question either?
You're asking me kind of silly questions, and I don't know why.
No, they're simple questions because you live in a world based on free will, Dennison.
Really, the
Your
nature
consent,
of existence and the entire order of the world is a simple question. Really, I
what a
don't think so.
simple question is whether you believe in consent or not, and you prove every day by how you live, you do.
I don't really believe much of anything. I don't know what your point is about consent, though.
That's a dodge. Do you think I should be able to come and take
Every
all your
time I
stuff?
give you an answer that you don't like, it's a dodge.
No, it
Right
is.
That's what
here,
I've noticed.
old Joe
Dennison, should I
Dennison.
be able to come take all your property if I choose to?
I love you guys.
You are able to come take all my property if you choose to.
Do you think I should?
Should you take all my property?
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you going to do with it?
I'm just asking you if I should be able to or not.
That
You
is
are
not
able to.
that is not
No.
consent though, because if you don't have any consent, it doesn't matter what they do with your property.
The question is drilling in, and Dennison sees it, which is why he's being slippery. It's drilling into the same
I'm just giving
thing.
you honest answers to the questions
No,
that you're
please
asking,
don't
and it
interrupt.
irritates you
You'll be able to say
because you
your
don't
piece.
agree with me and you don't
You'll be
like what
able to
my
say
piece
your
is.
piece in about 2 minutes. And plus, Dennison, I debate without a
I'll be
laptop.
able to say my piece once you've left the panel and avoided the conversation altogether,
I'm
which is
having
what
the
you do every
conversation right
single
now.
time I
It
see
drills
you.
to motive. What is your motive?
It's not a
Dennison,
conversation when you just sit there and ask questions,
that's right,
interrogating me
because
over and over again. When you just ask, this is you
turn your
interrupting
volume,
me. So
turn your
here
mic
I
gain up a
find
little more,
All
myself
right,
Dennison.
guys.
raising my
Here,
voice
Turn
just
your
to
mic
finish
gain
my
up a
pause
little more.
sentence.
this.
So I'm
Call
going to
the
turn the volume down here.
I'm gonna pause this and appreciate what we're experiencing. How do you communicate? And I see both sides, and both the questions, and I see the resistance to the answers. I can see, but there's something
May
that
I finish what I was saying, though?
okay.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Jack is the host here. I'm pretty sure that he was talking first. He was trying to explain something.
I'm pretty sure that I was trying to talk first that whole time, but kept being interrupted.
But
Go ahead, Jack.
that was like
Well,
actually.
you guys were interrupting each other, and the dialogue kind of it descended. That's why I was hoping to interrupt it.
There wasn't a dialogue at all, though.
Well,
Okay,
it could
I
have.
will think. I can make one last statement. I've showed you guys the technique I always use on postmodernists. I'll use it on Dennison now. I think it would be a better world if we maximize the ability for individuals to express their free will, as I feel that they will come closer to God in that way. Dennison, tell me about your better world.
I don't believe in God or free will.
I didn't ask you what you didn't believe in. I asked you what
I
you
know
did
I'm
believe
responding
in.
to what you said
Easy
because
now,
that's what
because
I
we were
wanted to say.
you guys need to let each
I
other
understand that
speak.
you don't like it if I say what I want to say, and you just want to interrogate me with questions in some attempt to get a gotcha so you can prove something that you don't even know what you're talking about.
Do we really need to have a middleman for this?
I think that might be helpful. I put old Joe in the back because I didn't want you interrupted, but he did ask a question that I've lost sight of. And,
You guys just need to let each other talk. That is important because that is how you get answers.
He's not interested in the
Jack,
conversation, Frank.
Kick me out after I asked Dennison this one question.
See what I mean?
Without saying what you don't want, Dennison, tell us what you do want. Okay, thank you very much. I'll head
I
out.
want some Detroit-style pizza. I lick
Here,
it. I lick it with extra cheese and old style pepperoni.
Denizen, I love you, brother, and I don't know if this is what old Joe was getting at, but in his question, you responded you don't have a belief in God or free will. And what you didn't say, though, was the answer. You don't believe in a better world, is my suspicion. And that's a lack of
I don't
faith.
believe that the world can get better. That's a
That
silly
wasn't
statement.
said. That wasn't said, but that was the
So a
question.
better world can't exist. What does that mean when you say I don't believe in a better world?
He was asking what he offered his solution of a better world emerging, and then he asked you for your perspective.
Oh, his one single thing that he said that would make a better world did not sell me. I don't
Right.
believe that it's that simple. I think
So,
that it was a deliberate oversimplification in order to make it look like I'm refusing to answer a question because I can't do it in one word or a yes or no answer.
okay.
And that's a tactic that debate bros use. It's not something that someone does when they're actually interested in sharing information and
All right.
understanding what the other person actually believes in.
Then try to expand your belief. What do you believe?
I mean, I could talk for an hour. I could talk probably for about 2.5 hours uninterrupted about what I think would make a better world. Is that what
That's
this
not what
show
I'm
is?
asking you.
My misunderstanding then, because I thought that was the question this whole time, Frank. Please go ahead.
No, I was asking you then, what do you believe in? I know that you need an hour, but my man, I don't work that way.
I
And
honestly
it's not
don't
necessarily.
believe in. I honestly don't believe.
Listen.
I try
Can I
not to
talk?
believe in things. Oh, I thought you were asking questions. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it is fine, and I'm really intrigued with what your belief is, and then with anyone's belief. But just the concept already with you being kind of, I feel that you're more disassociated, and I can be wrong, and I am wrong often. Then tell me, just in summary, what do you believe in? Because if you can't explain it like that, then it's more conflicting that you have a belief at all.
If you want to ask something specific, I'll be more than happy to elaborate on it and have a conversation with you. But like I said again,
how about we continue at another time? We're coming up on the 2-hour mark, and you kind of
real
got
quick, it's a half a sentence, and unfortunately, I feel like I'm repeating myself because I literally have said it 5 times now.
I don't mean to disrespect you, by the way.
I don't take it as a disrespect. I'm just trying to point out the difficulty of the conversation.
Sure.
If I have a belief, if you want to call it that, it's to attempt to believe in as little things as possible. Right? That's my philosophy. So if you're trying to pin me down to some kind of orthodoxy, it's just really not. It's going to be a difficult thing to do because it's the antithesis of how I live my life and how I use my brain.
Because I believe you, because I don't have a belief either, and I think it's pretty simplistic. As long as you're ease at yourself, then there shouldn't be any belief except.
And 100%, when people say things like believe and believe in and free will,
it's kind of forced, isn't
it? Not only is it forced, but they all have their own very unique and different definition of what every single one of those words means. And when you put them all together in a single sentence and expect a yes or no, you are being dishonest.
Okay. See how I just summarized it.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Denizen. I appreciate it. You guys can believe what you want. Unfortunately, I kind of feel like you're missing an opportunity, my friend.
I would love for Joe to come back up and us to have a conversation if that's what you're referring to.
No.
I don't think he's down for it.
I'm referring to the bigger topic. Okay. If you can allow yourself, and you probably have in the past, I'm sure you've investigated, I'm sure you've come to the conclusions that you have based on what you've experienced. But I'm telling you, my eyes have been opened. I am more convinced. I trust God is more real than we are. And Denizen, your approach to life, believe in as little as possible. That's actually, in my opinion, the way of the Tao, the Zen. You don't let beliefs limit you and move you. But the peace, I'd ask you to, and I'm sure you've considered, you said you find peace with the things. Well, the things come from somewhere, and the awareness of things comes
You
from
lost
somewhere.
me there. Say that last part again. Finding peace,
You said you find peace with the things. That's something I
the
heard you say.
things.
You said something about things. And my point is all things, everything, it comes from somewhere, something. And so I imagine in my mind an archetype of a personality, a divine creator who needs nothing from us, but has given us everything. I find peace in my heart going that extra step. I'm gonna
I, w-
start
I,
with
I wanted to talk to you about something. It and it matched the title a little bit. So that's why I came up to take that advantage of that, because I wanted your unique perspective on something. I don't know how much time you have, if it's
you know
appropriate to
what?
bring it up now.
I'm actually not pressed for time. I was trying to be, I don't know. Old Joe has returned as well. You're welcome to dig into whatever you'd like.
Yeah, so when you talk about um having peace of mind, right? I think that's what we're talking about, right? Yeah, see,
That's
that's exactly why I came up here. I wanted to tell you how I feel like I've made some observations, and I recall being a youth who was unaware of his so-called evil actions, and it had like a dampening effect on my inherent kindness. It's like it was right there as part of my character and who I wanted to be, but because I was unaware of evil, which is not really a word I use, but trying to come along the same lines of what you're saying, my immoral self, to
Mhm.
appeal to the title, right? uh it had an effect on me, and limited my ability to have peace of mind, to feel love, and to be kind to other people. But I find myself as an older person, more experienced and more aware of my shadow, which is what I would call it, right? um you can tether me to Jungian beliefs in many ways. Uh, I find myself incomplete unless at peace with myself if I reject my so-called evil self, my shadow. If I choose to embrace love and kindness, as because you and I talked about this offline a few weeks ago, and I took that seriously, and I find like a discomfort because I'm off balance, Jack. Like maybe I'm not a good person, so to speak, right? That I have to, that I am just a man. I'm like equal parts good and bad, and without my bad. And again, I hate these words, which is why I will never use them with people like Joe. Uh, I know you're not going to hold it against me. The uh, I feel less of a sense of self, almost like I'm lost.
Can you get comfortable with that?
Well, I guess that's what I'm figuring out now.
I I would, without knowing the details, I would suggest that's probably somewhere you want to look at. Recognizing that things are different. Maybe you're different. But as long as you approve of the difference and things are going well, don't let your mind distort you into unsettling thoughts. Self-doubt, self-doubt is a son of a gun, and that's why it's important who we surround ourselves with too, because we need others to help us right overcome our blind spots and offer encouragement. And I hope that helps. Does that make sense though?
Well, ultimately, you're correct. If the goal is growth or peace, because acceptance comes first, and Yeah, maybe there's just some more layers that need to be accepted.
Yes. And if anything we can accept, we can find a way to love as well.
What about you, Jack? What do you because I've seen you lose your temper on this channel.
Oh yeah.
And like you would say the old Jack is trying to come back to the surface, right? How does it make you feel afterward? And do you never feel righteous in your anger, Jack?
I used to. I used to feel righteous in my anger, but I no longer do. Now I feel bad when I get angry at someone.
Yeah.
Because they don't, most times they just don't know what they're doing. And actually that's what I realized in myself. My anger was coming from my frustration, from my lack of control.
Over what?
And over the moment. Most times over people's reactions or behavior with me that would frustrate me, and I get angry. Well, when I get angry, my mind's not thinking as clearly. Even though I may say what is true, I'll say it in ways that are fucking mean. And
See, I agree with you 100% on all of this, but at the same time, if I don't get angry, it starts to poison me.
if you're not honest with yourself, you'll destroy yourself. And
so this like embrace of love and kindness in the face of stupidity, ignorance, hate, intolerance, derision.
that's the game. That's the challenge. How much love can you embody despite the bitterness?
So what if the answer is not that much? What if I get sick to my stomach pretty quick?
Ask you, well, how do you feel about that? You don't feel good getting sick to your stomach. So you've got to find a way to accept, find a way to appreciate, and find a way to overcome. And sometimes it comes down, actually, it ties in. I mentioned it earlier, the practice of focus from meditation. It's not just learning how to focus your mind on what you want. It's also learning how to ignore what's not relevant, what's not healthy. It's a spiritual battle conducted in our minds. You got a strong mind. That can be dangerous. We've got a lot of people. Tommy's a great example. He's got a friggin' ton of energy and he's got a really bright mind, but those minds can be self-destructive when not tempered, governed. I don't know. We've got a couple more guests. Old Joe is back here.
That met the evolution I wanted it to. Thank you, Jack.
Appreciate that. Old Joe and Linzilla.
Oh, Dennison, tell me about what you wanted.
What I want?
Well,
I wanted to follow up on Dennison's identity thing, but you know what? I'll give you your time to finish this. So I'll touch base with you later.
No, I won't be long, Lindsay. Don't take off. And then you can.
How about
so Dennison, you just told me that conversation met the evolution of what you wanted. Can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah, I was curious about Jack's perspective, and I was looking for a blind spot in my own reasoning, and Jack fulfilled my request on both ends of that.
You were actively seeking for a blind spot in your own reasoning?
No, I had one.
And you were looking for a blind spot?
No, I was looking to shed some light on it, and Jack helped me out with that.
By looking, were you choosing to do this?
Sure.
Yeah, he's got a level.
If you want to have a deep, if you want to have a deep conversation about what you means and what choose means, we can.
No, what looking means to me seems like a product of your free will, Dennison.
I know you think that, and I would disagree.
Tell me how.
How I disagree? Yes. I don't believe in free will.
No, but how is that not you expressing? You can't just simply assert it. I'm
I
saying you're
don't
doing
see how
something
the.
on purpose.
Well, I don't believe it
But
exists.
I'm saying you chose to have that conversation because you desired it. Do you disagree? I think your
No,
language says that you just did
no,
too.
I don't believe in the same you that you do. I believe the projection of the ego is, you know, a
So
mirage.
some other you chose to have that conversation.
There is no you.
So
Ultimately,
some nebulous
objectively,
thing
there is
chose
no
to have
you.
that.
There is no me.
So,
Okay.
so nobody chose to have. So the conversation didn't happen. Who did it take place between?
Well, somebody doesn't have to choose something for it to take place.
No,
So
that's not
you're,
what I asked. If there's no you, who
but it's
was
what you
having the
implied.
conversation? Who was having the conversation?
See, you asked me a question, then I answered it, and then you
Yeah.
said something like that chick was doing
I
with
don't.
Jordan Peterson. I forget her name from
No,
Channel
it's
4.
I don't
And
you
know.
all
are.
I'm trying to do is that when I respond to the question, hold on, I'm almost done, is I don't want to insert the thing that you said in my answer, and only because I disagree, not because I don't like you. You know what I'm
So
saying?
you don't exist, is what you're saying.
The you as you think it is does not exist. Correct.
So that you, as I think it is, wasn't having a conversation with Jack.
Correct. Because it doesn't have free will.
What
It
was having a conversation with Jack?
it, it just it's a subjective experience for me.
For you, when you
There
say
doesn't
me,
have to be a what.
you just said me. What are you referring to when you use that word?
I'm referring to the projection of my ego.
Okay, so that is you in a different format. If you
No,
doesn't
it's
describe
the
it,
same.
Dennison, what is it?
It's the same format. You just think that it's real and that it can make choices and that it has will and that
Okay,
that will is free.
and
I
you tell
don't.
me what it actually is then, if what I think is wrong.
I told you it's a projection of the ego.
Here,
You go
I
ahead,
don't
Jack.
I don't think he's going to change his mind on
No,
free
I'm
will.
trying to understand his position. I'm just asking
Well, I
questions.
don't.
What is this? What is
You
this
keep
So,
asking
thing
the
you're
same question
referring
over
to?
and over again, though, without any
right.
clarification or movement in the
No, it's
conversation.
very clear. Are
You,
we talking about a projection on a wall or on a
in the
screen
mind,
similar to that? What meta? So
in the
does the
mind,
mind? So does the mind exist?
as an emergent property of the brain. Yeah,
Okay, so the
I
mind
think
is an
so.
emergent. The mind is an emergent. You're not sure, but you think so. That's fair. I accept that. We all just think this, right? We can't. So your mind is an emergent property of your brain.
From the
Is it
best I can
distinct?
tell.
Is it distinct from your brain? Does it have any weight or is it outside your brain?
Not that I can tell, no.
Okay, so what would it be? How would you describe it? I had a
As an
professor.
emergent property of my mind, of my brain,
Let
I
me let me try to be a bit more specific, Dennison. I had a
sure.
professor who said the mind was a product of consensus. He didn't believe that the mind was within the brain. He said that our minds existed between two individuals when they were having a conversation. This is the
Right.
reason we agree on what is blue, what's a table, what's red. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
No, because I believe the exact opposite of that.
Okay, take me through it.
Human beings are essentially the universe experiencing itself subjectively. So whatever that source is beyond my understanding. And this experience is completely subjective, yet the emergent properties of my mind are isolated from yours. It doesn't cease to exist. If you go away and don't have this conversation, my mind continues to exist. If one of us passes to the other side, the other's mind continues to exist in every way that I can understand that it does, being here in the moment. So what
So
that
we can
implies, I couldn't tell you because I'm not God.
so we can exist, we can agree that our own minds exist independently as individuals. My mind is not your mind.
No, not exactly.
So are our minds one mind or is there a distinction between the two?
There could be a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B. I'm going to repeat it myself a little bit. The source could be the same thing. I don't know.
So
Uh,
you as an individual, whether it be your mind or you, are simply an illusion. You do not exist as an individual.
correct. It's made up.
Is this the foundation for your lack in free will? Because since there's no individual, there can be no individual free will?
No, it's derivative from, a conclusion thereof, not the reason for. I can see like if someone poses the concept of free will to me, I can find it nowhere. I can
Okay,
find no
final
evidence for it, and I can see no will that is 100% its own will, and no will that is free in nature. The
final
only
question.
one I can even think of conceptually is that of God. God's the
Final
only one
question.
who can have free will.
I'm getting you. I just want to get other people in here. Dennison, you sometimes tell me that you have a very concrete idea of truth and that you see it as your duty to expose others' errors in their perception of truth. In other words, you have a personal duty to correct the ignorance of other people. Have I understood that correctly?
I don't believe I have a personal duty.
Is this
And
something you find yourself doing lots?
no, not
What,
recently. And
but,
it
but you
as
did.
far as yeah, like in my younger years, I felt it necessary to try to point out the truth as much as I possibly could. I don't really. As of lately, I've had a crisis of faith. If truth is my religion, I've been having a crisis of faith for going on 3 to 5 years now. So I'm not sure how long ago that conversation took place that you're referring to.
About 6 months. Anyways, I'm going to let you go. I think Lindsay had a question for you. Thank you very much for
Wait,
answering my
wait, wait,
questions,
wait, wait,
Dennison.
wait. I was enjoying your discussion. I think people were in the chat too, and I didn't want to. What I have to say is small, 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 nothing compared to that conversation. That conversation was interesting. Would you please go on?
Okay,
Don't
well,
stop.
I believe, and this could be a flaw in my character, but I believe I already see very clearly what the issue is. And to do anything more, now, Jack has a style on his panel. He allows people with disagreeing opinions to come up and express themselves and to be tolerant. For me to go any further, this would not become a discussion, it would become an interrogation.
It
And I
always
don't want to
was.
do that. I don't think it's in the spirit of Jack's panel to do that. I think I very clearly see where Dennison is coming from now,
I
and I
disagree.
can tell you I totally disagree with him. But that's okay, and I'm when
Well, Frank,
We
Dennison says he
definitely
has no way
disagree
of
on the nature of free will.
when Dennison says he has no way of knowing reality or he's not God, I agree with him. I think this is something that we have to both accept, and that both
And
of us
this,
have the potential to be wrong.
it's true for, those who would oppose me intellectually as well, whether
Those
they
who would
like to admit it
oppose
to
you,
themselves or not. Yeah,
what
who
is true?
oppose that idea
Did I
that
oppose
they
which
know
idea?
reality. It's just the difference between deluding yourself and being honest with yourself.
No, I think you can say that you believe something. I think this is why this gives you such trouble, Dennison. I think that that ambiguity piece is something that we kind of have to live with, and we can argue from a perspective believing that it's right, with the knowledge in the back of our mind that we could be wrong, and be willing, like you mentioned before, if your religion is the pursuit of truth. I think it's a
Nothing I
fabulous
said
statement.
contradicted that at all.
uh,
Yeah, but
oh
I think
Joe,
it's a fabulous statement. Is that your religion?
oh Joe,
It
hold
used
on.
to be.
Hold on. Old Joe, in all fairness, you already kind of come off as really demeaning when talking to this gentleman. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure.
I can't hear you, man. You got to turn your mic up.
It does. It was cutting you out a little.
I'm saying is that you want to force upon his opinion and then want to
Yeah,
make it your own. And, I'm pretty sure people can agree with me is that we have an amazing conversation here. Is that you kind of are forcing this man to believe in something that you want to believe. And that's why I said that it kind of sounds like a Jehovah's Witness because he clearly does not agree with you. You
he's
can
trying to put my
Frank, do you know
beliefs
what an
into a
internal
box. He's
Frank, do
trying
you
to
know what an
categorize
internal
all of
critique
my
is?
beliefs and
no.
put them in a box and then put a label on that
Well,
box is what he's
If
trying to do.
if asking questions comes across to you as forcing beliefs, I haven't made a single
No,
statement.
no, because you clearly already said, and we can scroll back, is that you already know how he feels. I don't think that you're goddamn entitled to know how he feels or
I
what he
cannot
believes.
And
say,
he
I
said he
cannot
knows what
say,
the
I
issue is,
believe,
Frank, which I
I
found
can't
interesting
say,
because I didn't
hang
know
on,
there was an
you
issue.
see, you see how Denison's gotten a little more aggressive now that he
No, no,
has a
no, no.
backer?
See, you're attacking him
I'm just,
again.
it's
Frank,
because you
I
don't
am going
stop
to say it
talking whenever
again.
I try to cut in. That's why.
I'm going to say it again.
It's a
I
you thing,
believe,
buddy.
I believe I know exactly what's driving Denison. I could be wrong, but that's my
Yeah,
belief.
you believe. Exactly. It is your belief. Then let each
It's my
other
belief.
alone.
What's wrong with that?
No, it is your belief. See, that is the end of the discussion. There is no
Sure.
need to
Yeah.
discuss anymore.
There's no point to
That's
have
what
any
I said
conversation at all.
right as I was about to leave. That's the end of the discussion. I
And
believe
it's
I
what I
understand
said
the
before you came back.
You kind of have a tendency to dip out when hard questions are
Ask
made.
me any question you'd like.
Hey, do you guys mind if I jump in? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
However,
definitely hear you, buddy.
I just wanted to ask Dennison a question, if you don't mind, Dennison. You said earlier that I found very interesting that the universe is uh, projecting us. It's in a way to experience itself, and I found that very interesting. That comment. And then at another point, you mentioned that the only thing that has free will is God. Do you believe that God is the universe?
he clearly
Uh,
does not. He does not have an understanding of God.
Oh,
That's why.
Can you let him answer?
yeah, definitely. When we're having this conversation, I find if I engage in good faith conversation with Christians of all denominations,
I'm not a
ultimately,
Christian, just to make things clear. I'm just a human being here, a
well, this
flawed
is
human being looking to find answers to what we're doing here.
yeah, but I'm being interrogated deliberately by a Christian,
No.
not you. I'm talking about
Oh, okay.
before you got here, right?
You
So,
think
Right.
I'm a Christian, Denison?
so, so the universe and God are interchangeable terminologies to creationists.
Okay.
When
You know, Denison,
if you ever
Can you
try to
break?
get a creationist or a theist to actually define God and narrow it down in terms of what they believe, it always comes down to the container for everything else that exists outside of everything else.
hey, Denison, am I a
Ultimately,
Christian? Am I
whether
the
they call it
Christian? Am I the Christian you were referring to?
no. And no matter what, whether they call it love or they believe it's an actual entity, the Holy Spirit, all that stuff, there's complexities and layers added to it. But ultimately, God is the universe in atheistic terminology, if that makes sense, Brother Stone.
So are you classifying yourself as an atheist that believes in God and that God is the universe experiencing itself? Would that be out of what
I adopt certain terms when I'm on this channel in order to communicate more effectively. I don't think that's an unfair characterization. I would just say that I'm, if forced to categorize that, I'm a strong anti-theist who believes God is real because he was created by man.
Okay. And so if God is the universe and you're not disagreeing with that idea, then sorry, I'm just trying. I got to get my daughter some cheese here. I went to
The
pick up
difference
cheese.
between me and someone who believes in God,
Timbers.
maybe, is that what you're looking for? I would just say there's no mind there. There's no mind and there's no personality.
You would reject intelligent design.
Uh, not exactly.
Sorry, bro. I had to
Like
dip out to give my daughter cheese, but I really find this discussion interesting, and I wanted to go deeper into it because I have the belief that um, all there is the infinite universe. Personally, it's just what I've come to recently. I'll be back in a second.
right, and this is what most theists mean when they say God. I know that they personalize it and they anthropomorphize it, but ultimately, if you're looking to understand a Christian instead of debate him on the nature of the universe, that's what he means. He means the universe. He means the container of all things, the source of everything, the creation of all things, the only thing that is the oneness of all existence and all mankind and all nature and everything.
Dennison, how do you know what another man means?
Here, please, Denizen, thank you. You've articulated yourself very well, and you have been kind of in the pressure. Joe, you're coming across with a little bit of interrogative energy.
I agree. Hey, I'll let you guys finish it off. Thanks a lot, man, for having me up, eh?
Much
I
love,
think
Joe.
it's possible that old Joe is a little bit intimidated by Dennison.
He's never liked me since the
Why
second
do
we
you
ever
guys
met.
always throw
I
the
sense
challenge just as I'm about to leave?
I don't know you, old Joe, but I'm just sensing it because I'm a very perceptive person. So I sense a little bit of intimidation on your part, and you're trying to equalize.
No, you please don't assume that, Lou. This might be another example where you got to double check your judgment.
Maybe.
Joe, thank you for joining.
Thank you, sir.
I do feel like maybe it is time to start wrapping up these questions of the universe and this experience. I'm going to do my own opinions after.
Hold on, Jack. I got to get going, but can I give you a final word for a second?
Please do.
Just real quick. I'm just going to give you my definition of this place, what we are, and God. Okay, so I'm a dumb wop that didn't get past grade 9, and I only got a credit in grade 9 because I threatened to blow up the fucking science teacher's car, and he passed me with a 50. So don't expect me to have fantastic words. So I'm going to keep it very simple. So God is like a fart, right? So when you blow a fart, everybody in the room.
That was enough final words. Appreciate it, Lou. Golly geez. Hard hat, it's been a long time, brother. Appreciate your patience and appreciate seeing you.
Nice beard.
That's all good. I'm just checking in. Actually, I watched a couple shows of yours just the last couple of days, but it's good to see you're still fucking here and on your path. But yeah, so I'll jump on another day, whatever. Everyone was kind of, you're into your, I missed half of it. I'm halfway cooking through dinner or whatever. But yeah, it's good to see you. Things are well. Dog Carl is going, he's like a year and a half old now. And yeah, it's going good. Just fucking pitter patter.
Good. Your mic is it's got a lot of static, but Hard hat, I love you, brother. It's great to see you back here again. And stay tuned, man. I appreciate you checking in, see what's going on with the old communities and stuff. And I have a feeling, I can't prove it, but I have a feeling there's great things coming for us, and especially this guy. I'm working for it. I'm going to start wrapping up, though. Anything else from you, brother?
Oh, man. We'll talk again, but yeah, I'm glad you're going, and I hope everyone's kind of making changes and for the better, right? Sometimes it's tough fucking, but there's always it always gets better, right? But anyway, I love you guys all. Good to see you again. We'll see you again. Peace.
Much love, brother. Peace to you. Frank, I want to give Denizen the last words if he's still around.
I'm still here, but I'm drained of all my words, I think.
All right. I wanted to
unless Frank has something to say.
I'm not sure what happened to him. I'm gonna drop him and actually thank you. You got put in the front there, and your words are being challenged. You have a skill at communicating, and
I'm more artful than articulate. Unfortunately, it's
learn our balance. We are.
But you know the thing though, Jack, is like I'm at a point now where I don't like it's just it doesn't amuse me or entertain me anymore to debate. Right. So if two people come together and want to have a conversation, they're going to do it. They're not going to pick on each other's words. It doesn't happen. When someone shows up to show they got a bigger dick than you, that's when they pick on your words, and I become like quickly disinterested as soon as I get that tone and my answer gets interrupted. If you ask me 4 questions and the first 3 you interrupt my answer to ask me the second, third, and fourth question, by the 5th one, I'm bored, and you've annoyed me, right?
And yet, somehow, we still find ways to communicate with each other, despite the frustrations we bring. Denizen, I love you, brother. I'm ready to start wrapping up.
Peace.
I wish you well. I hope you have a beautiful evening. Brothers and sisters, all who tuned in at whatever time, if you missed the beginning, please do like the stream and maybe go back, check out the beginning. The idea topic today, finding morals and freedom, breaking free of the old, realizing that there was debate about this concept, the concept of free will, but I believe we have the free will to choose. Now, what we get to choose from is limited by our ideas. And if you focus your mind on lustful ideas, harmful ideas, fearful ideas, ideas that make you angry, guess what? That's what you're going to find. But if you allow yourself to recognize, okay, this prediction looks bad, these pieces look bad, this could be a problem. If you recognize the problem and then find an alternative, find the solution, find what you want, you get to grow. The world is the way that it is because people have driven each other insane, literally. I can explain this and I can present the case that I believe confirms what I'm saying. So if it's true that the world is insane, look at you. How do you know the signs of insanity? Someone who is detached from reality. They're disassociated from the present. Because the present moment is now. The life of eternity is now. Now is where we get to choose. Now is where we get to feel. What we choose, what we feel is going to create the memories we carry around. So words I heard the other day that I do live by myself to some degree: do not lie. Do not lie to others. Do not lie to yourself. Do not corrupt you. And don't do what you hate. If you see options that you know you're not going to be proud of, that extra cookie, the extra piece of cake, the drinks, whatever it is, if you see things, options for you to do, and you know that's not good for you, do not allow yourself to do it. It's as simple as that. Accept responsibility for you. Do not lie, and don't do what you hate. Because if you're honest and you're not lying, you'll do things that you love. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to wrap it up there. For those who are tuned in, I better do this before I forget. I've got it set to, holy cows, what am I doing? Sorry, it wasn't as set up as I thought. I've got us set up to go join Truther Cop here very shortly. I don't think he started yet, but I assume he's paying attention. And it is set to redirect. So for those who are looking for more alternatives to give your attention to, it's already set, baby. You just got to sit back and relax and enjoy the life of today. Because really, if you don't enjoy the life of today, what are you doing? You're missing the opportunity. Enjoy life while you can. Tune in, subscribe, share a like, share some love. Return again in the future if we can. Till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. Thank you again, and God bless us all. Peace.